Murray and Nikki Burns live near Whangarei on an ex-dairy farm. They grow hydroponic herbs and greens on 2 hectares under cover. After developing intolerance to chemical sprays, Murray became interested in growing spray-free produce. They now supply chemical-free herbs and lettuces straight to consumers.
I'm a grower in Northland. I live just out north of Whangarei. I've been in horticulture all my life. I studied horticulture at university at Lincoln College, and then I worked for Turners and Growers and auctioneer. Myself and 5 other growers started Top Notch Pack House, which was a Northland tomato packing house, and supplying the local supermarkets. But once the buying power of the supermarkets increased and the local fruit shops disappeared and the auction disappeared and the central marketing system started to collapse, it got more and more difficult for satellite areas like Whangarei to supply into the chains. They made it more difficult for us to supply into the chains, and it was just getting uneconomic. About that time, this is going back about 14 years, something had to be done. There was no future. And Robert Bradley, a friend of mine, and I decided that we needed to sell direct to the public, and we started the Whangarei Growers Market. In doing that, it was a major shift for me as a horticulturist, because suddenly, rather than being a monoculture, I now had a customer who wanted a diverse range of product, which was great for me because it enabled me to branch out into many different crops, which as a horticulturist or as a grower is far more enjoyable. We grow hydroponically because of the fact that we're chemical free. Hydroponics is a very good option for us. Also, it's nice and high, so I'm not breaking my back. With hydroponics, it's always a dilemma because you can completely control what the plant grows in. Now, your standard hydroponic mixes, which is any grower uses, is of course it's nitrogen in terms of calcium nitrate, potassium nitrate, there's a monopot phos, which is monopotassium phosphate, there is magnesium sulfate, ammonium nitrate, then you've got your trace elements, which is iron, manganese, copper, boron, zinc, molybdenum, which covers about 12 to 13 basic nutrients. The downside is in soils, particularly say in organic soils, there's up to 270 nutrients. And nobody's really sure what nutrients we need and what we don't need in terms of trace elements. So the way I've got around that, or tried to get around that, is I do a lot of composting. I use my chooks as well. So every waste piece I get from the farm, I compost, I put it in the chook pen, the chooks work away at it, and then once it's composted, I then put it on the comfrey plant. Now, the thing with a comfrey plant is there's this amazing ability to absorb all the micronutrients in the soil up into the leaves. And then I harvest the leaves, put them in a drum, fill the drum up, then fill it up with water, and then after about 5 or 6 weeks, it's sufficiently broken down that I can then add it as a liquid to the hydroponic mix. So after 5 weeks have elapsed, and it's now turned into this brown liquid, which of course does have a rather strong odour to it, but this is a CF meter. Now, this measures the salts or the fertiliser content. Normally for my hydroponics, I try and set it at a CF of about 18. With this, it will be well over 36. So it's what it's done is the leaves have absorbed all this nutrient, and then it's broken down, turned into solution, so it's quite a strong solution of nutrient. My basic philosophy is KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Hydroponics isn't particularly complex, it's simply reticulation of water. What you've got to be careful of is, if you have a set system, is that eventually you'll get a build-up of sodium, and what we want to avoid is dumping. So I have small tanks, which the plants drink down, so that it's gone, refilled with fresh nutrient, and add the comfrey, and away it goes again. It's very simple. It's got a filter on it, but the filter is simply to take any large particles. We're spray-free. We grow all year round. We grow Mizuna, rocket. They're brassicas, which means the white butterfly attack them, of course, in the summer. So the netting simply keeps the white butterfly if there's no need to spray. In the winter, we can move them to uncovered areas, but not until they're larger, because in the winter the chaffinches eat the seeds. So they keep the chaffinches off in the winter and the white butterfly off in the summer. It's just a simple way of keeping them pest-free. Spray-free was always going to be a difficult one. When I first got my chemical poisoning, Nikki and I had to sit down and work out exactly how we were going to carry on growing. The biggest help for us is we got away from monoculture. Once you break up your plantings with different varieties, the pest problem starts to disappear. If you're monoculture 52 weeks of the year, the pest diseases just tend to build up. Hydroponics was another way to do it. It gets us up out of the ground. You don't have the splash factor. Plastic roof keeps the rain off, so you don't have the fungal infection. The other thing we went to is much younger plants. We tend to harvest baby or young plants, keep them strong and healthy. The Nassnova aphid, when it arrived in New Zealand, created havoc with us lettuce growers. We have Nassnova variety resistance. The simple things like covering the brassicas when there's white butterfly. The other simple thing is simply not growing brassicas in the white butterfly season. Our bok choy, for example, as soon as the first white butterflies show up, we pull it out. We don't plant it again until the last white butterfly's gone. With capsicums, cucumbers, tomatoes, we use a little bit of baking soda to control powdery mildew. Vegetable oil we found very effective for controlling aphid and whitefly, but we do have a natural aphid predator. And by not using any agrochemicals, we find that the predators build up in the bush and in the trees. Green beetle, we don't have any trouble with at all. It's controlled by naturally occurring predators. It's working with it is the best thing to be spray-free, and certainly getting away from monoculture. That's very important.
Nikki Burns packs the salads to go to market with the help of 2 other workers, and they also have a range of other herb-based products.
Because we're spray-free, we don't have to wash anything, it's all ready to go, whereas a lot of other commercial processing plants that will go through, it'll be cut by tractors instead of hand cut. Ours is all hand cut, delivered to the shed, and it'll go through their machines, and then it's washed and spun dry, and what they wash it in I wouldn't like to eat, so we don't, with us being spray-free, we leave it all totally natural, and so you get more flavour and it keeps really well. We sell all our produce through the market. There's a couple of bits that go out the door on a Friday, but they're basically buying all our same product. And at the markets we take our muscular mixes, we do our salad mix as well, which is packed on the Thursday before the market. I do a range of pestos, which is an extension to our herb growing, and because we have this facility I can do it in here. And then we pack a range of fresh herbs for people to buy, just so they can, if they want to make their own pestos or whatever they like, then they can do that. And we do capsicums, and then through the summer we'll have our tomatoes and cucumbers and things. The volumes that go through the market, we have, at this stage it can be up to about 70 pallets at the height of the season that goes through, which is a huge supply. Our local supermarkets wouldn't take that much in product on a Saturday morning, and that's just 4 hours.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.